Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we got another wonderful episode lined up for you. We're talking passion, lifestyle, and business. What happens when you mix the three together? Yeah, that's what we're talking about with a special guest, Tonya Buford from the singlespodup.com. You guys do not want to miss today's episode as we continue to celebrate Black History Month and on the Valentine's Day, the day of love and all of that good stuff. Yeah, it's going down today, man. So do me a huge favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it this morning. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live from the Black Biz Success Mastermind Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you are a business owner and you love to connect with and network with other business owners, or if you aspire to be a business owner and you're looking for tips, strategies to help you jumpstart that idea and turn it into a business, you want to text the keyword mastermind to 314-866-4053. Again, text keyword mastermind to 314-866-4053 so you can get hundreds of dollars of free tools, resources, training, networking events, virtual, online, offline. Man, it is going down in the Black Biz Success Mastermind. So make sure that you are in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We got a wonderful show lined up for you today. We're talking to the founder of the Singles Pop-Up, Tonya Buford, and how she was able to leverage her passion, her lifestyle, and create a business out of it. And you guys know I'm all for taking your gifts, talents, special abilities, and turning those things into business and enterprises that can build passive income for yourself. Not a whole lot of announcements for today, but do want to shout out those those LA Rams. Congrats on the Super Bowl win. No longer in St. Louis, but I was still pulling for the Rams last night. So they got the win last night, and that was super cool. So shout out to those guys, man. It takes a lot to win a championship, and they got the job done. I do have one announcement, man. If you guys are not signed up for the Daily Hustle, y'all missing it, man. I'm going to learn more about that here in a second or two. So I want to take an opportunity to go ahead and read this bio from Miss Tonya Buford, man. Washington, D.C. native Tonya Buford is a strong, charismatic leader and communicator and has used her communication skills to develop a network of diversified contacts. Her passion is improving the lives of others and their communities. After the frustration with finding quality suitors on popular dating apps, Tonya had an idea to infuse her event planning skills and years of personal experiences being single and founded Singles Pop Up in 2019. Singles Pop Up mission is to help singles walk in their purpose and remain positive until they meet their ideal mate through coaching and hosting face to face events experiences to create intentional connection. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some of you guys and present to others Miss Tonya Buford. Good morning, sis. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning. I'm awesome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. And we're going to dive all the way into all that makes Tonya Buford who you are. But before I get started, I ask everybody, Tonya, this same question, and I'm going to ask it to you. Who the heck are you?
Well, I am, let's see, the oldest of two. My mom had two girls. Was a single parent of three. I had twins,
Hmm.
but they're now well over in their 30s, and I have five grandkids. Recently lived in the St. Pete, Tampa area. Just moved back to hometown, which is in the DMV.
Hmm.
And I'm really excited to be here this morning.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we are excited to have you here. And the whole purpose and the mission behind the Cortez Hustle Show is to make entrepreneurship mainstream. And I think one of the ways that we do that is to get the backstories of wonderful entrepreneurs like yourself. Where did it all start, right? When you go back to childhood, were you that kid selling candy in school, or did your entrepreneurial journey start? Take us all the way back, man. How did you come up? And
Oh, if I could go back, my
yeah.
mother was a true entrepreneur even before the word entrepreneur was
Hmm.
mainstream. Now, she worked many years at Amtrak. She did a lot of stuff at hospitals, but she ended up starting her before and after tutorial and humanities program on Capitol Hill in DC.
Mm.
And she managed a staff of 5 to 7 people. She had several children in different, districts. So all elementary, middle school. She had dance that she coordinated with different local dance studios. She taught karate. She is a third-degree black belt. She was in
Mm.
Madison Square Garden. So she was always ahead of her time, always not letting anything of you can't be a part of the vocabulary in the Buford home,
Mhm.
and to pursue your passions. If that's something that you're passionate about, do it.
Yeah.
And so I've always looked up to, her, just going out there and just see how it works out. And so she did that. She retired from it. And so that's kind of where I got my entrepreneurship type spirit.
Love it, love it. So, mom, man, we're gonna get all the way into that.
Okay.
But we do a segment on the show, and we kind of like to start the show off in a positive vibe. So we do something called the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a quote that resonated with me today as I was doing my meditation and my workout and my morning routine. If you have a favorite quote, you can share yours, or you can chime in on this one as well, and or you can do both. But today's quote is from a man, Jim Rohn. In life, you're going to live with one or two pains, either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
Wow.
So choose your pain wisely, people. I will tell you, you do not want to be living with the pain of regret. And I think the major difference between the two is one is temporary and the other one is permanent, right?
Exactly.
I was doing a new workout this weekend, and man, I got to do my morning routine this morning, and my legs were on fire. But I'm thinking to myself, that's a temporary pain, right?
Yeah.
If I quit or if I don't continue to work out, I'm going to live with a permanent pain that says, what could my life have been if I'd stayed in better shape? If I'd really taken care of myself and I'd stayed fit. And so I don't want to live with that pain. So I'd rather go through the temporary pain of disciplining myself
to get up at 4:30 every morning and get me a workout in and start my day that way. So do you have a favorite quote, or do you want to chime in on that one, or both?
Honestly, I don't have a favorite quote, but I am very keen on affirmations.
Mm,
A lot of times we navigate through life with culture and society telling you who you are.
hmm.
So my affirmations are: I am enough, I am worthy, I am supposed to be here, I am, contributing. So it just depends on, where we are, where I am actually. But I
Hmm.
do love your quote because that is my motivator. My motivator is living with no regrets. So
Mm,
if I have the passion to do it, I do it because not just to check a box, but because that's the OCD in me, but only to say that I did it. And if it didn't work out, I don't have to live my life wondering if it would have worked out or could
yeah.
have worked out. So I do definitely agree with the living with regrets.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things where we've all done it, and we continue to do it without realizing the power. So now that I've come aware of that quote, I'm thinking like, man, do I want to let fear stop me from doing this and then regret it the rest of my life, or do I just want to go ahead and bang it out and
Go for
like,
it.
and even sometimes in doing things, do I do it with all I got, right? Because that's the regret I have. It's like I've tried some stuff, but one of the regrets I have is, but you didn't give it 110 though,
Yeah,
Cortez. Like,
yeah.
what would it be like if you'd have really given it 110? So that's pushing me and myself daily to give 110%. So that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by Personal Branding 365. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are struggling to build your personal brand, then if you go to personalbranding365.com, you can get this ebook and video training course for $7.95. Yes, I said it, $7.95. I've been able to build a personal brand, and it pays me a handsome four-figure monthly residual income every single month because of some of the tips and strategies that I share with you in this ebook and video course series. So go to personalbranding365.com, pick up yourself a copy. You will not be disappointed. The bonuses alone are worth over $400, ladies and gentlemen. So you do not want to miss out on this opportunity, because I can promise you this: I can't keep it at $7.95 forever. So go to Personal Branding 365 and go ahead and grab yourself a copy. So Tanya, you talked about mom being a black belt. Wait, what? Uh,
Yes, yes, yes.
chops in the throat if you and your sister ain't acting right? Is
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. Mom put you to place. She just make you do push-ups.
oh, okay. I love it. I love it. I
Oh
love it.
yeah, she was definitely a trailblazer.
Good. I mean, and talk about your moving through middle school and high school. Was it that evident to you at that early age that, wait a minute, my mom is kind of a big deal, or was it just mom and you didn't really have the impact of who she was, at that stage in your life?
No, I think all kids, if you ask LeBron James kids, if you ask Michael Jordan's kids when they were younger, they'll tell you they're just dad, they're
Yeah.
just mom.
Mhm.
Okay, we got to go to another tournament. You're not in tune. You haven't lived long enough to understand. But
Yeah.
once you get to that age, when you're in
Mhm.
your, you know, early 20s and you're just starting into getting to your career and your choices, you start really starting to it starts to resonate like, wow, she did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So the older I get, the more I get passionate about, well, my mother tried it or my mother did it, and why not? So
Mhm.
that definitely helps with the motivation.
Gotcha. So, still entrepreneurship as kid, or not so much?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't answer that. Not really. My mother was not only was she a trailblazer, but she never sat still anywhere. We
Hmm.
lived in many cities: Chicago, Milwaukee, Gary, Indiana. some couple of places in Florida, and then DC and Delaware. So I was always reinventing myself, which I think has helped me as an adult, because I went to, I think, 3 middle schools, 2 elementary schools, and then 3 high schools.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so she bounced around, and just trying to find herself.
Yeah.
Again, you're in the moment, you don't understand because you're a kid. As you get older, you start to understand it. And so I think it was heartbreaking as a kid, but once I became older, I think it became a gift,
Hmm.
that I can have conversations with anybody, no matter who they are. I
Yeah.
can, I know how to be present in the room and not feel like, ooh, I don't know if I belong here, I fit in, and
Mhm.
just, knowing who I am. So I think it just helped me with that.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I've been listening to a lot of Myron Golden here lately. And one of the things he's big on is understanding and having the right perspective. He asks a question. Have you ever seen a one-sided slice of bread? Like, well, no, every slice of bread has two sides. And basically what he was getting at that is every gift has its potential to be a curse, and every curse has its potential to be a gift if you have the right perspective.
Right.
So I think you're
Right.
looking back saying, yeah, we bounced around, and yeah, I got torn away from some friends, and as I started
Yeah.
to settle in, and but
Yeah.
now it's like, you know what, man, I touched a lot of diverse areas and talked to a lot of different people, and
Yeah.
really became well rounded.
Right. It definitely helps with, your mindset as well. When
Hmm.
you have to navigate new surroundings
Yeah.
and not being intimidated by that. Not, and I think that, that, like you say, it's a two-sided. You can look at it as it was probably not the best childhood to grow up in,
Hmm.
jumping around, but at the same time, look what type of person I became
Hmm.
out of it. So yeah, I always take the good from stuff, and that's what I try to tell people. You got to look at
Yeah.
the glass half full.
You got to have the right perspective
Definitely.
and see that everything is working to your benefit. So
Exactly.
you got through high school, all three of them, right?
Yes,
And made it through. What was college life like? Did you go to college and
I
get through?
did.
And
Yeah, I went to college. She was actually a dean at the college.
oh wow, okay.
Like, honestly, I'm working on that book because it's very like, you look
Yeah,
back, you're like, man, how did I make it out of there? My goodness.
yeah.
But yeah, so I did. I went to college, fell in love a couple of times,
Hmm.
never got married, very close to it several times, but never really did it. And became a single parent, and, just made decisions differently than my mother
Hmm. Hmm.
because I knew some of the shortcomings of bouncing around.
Yeah,
So I tried really hard to be the opposite parent. So a lot of sacrificing, but yeah, I'm here. I made it
gotcha.
through. Yeah.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this, and I love to talk to my sisters about this particular subject. We know that Black women are the fastest growing segment in entrepreneurship
Hmm.
today.
Hmm.
What was your corporate experience been? And I know you're still in corporate,
Hmm.
but what is that experience like for someone such as yourself? I think Black women have a unique experience trying to navigate corporate,
Hmm.
especially now. I see you rocking your natural hair. That
That's what
wasn't
you can do.
always that wasn't always
No,
accepted
exactly.
thing. And so, how did you experience corporate America as a fierce Black woman, and how has that helped you in your entrepreneurial endeavors?
Well, I'll say I wasn't fierce when I first started in corporate America because, yes, there's a lot of things that going in the door we have to change and navigate into corporate
Mhm.
America. I worked for a lot of nonprofits. I'm always about causes.
Mhm.
It's always been my passion. I worked for Alzheimer's Association. I worked for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And so my passion is always for a better community of others.
Yeah.
So But yes, corporate America will put you in a position where you have to recreate yourself, which I had the experience of. But yes, natural hair was not even heard of when I entered in corporate America. So you have to put on this facade, this bubbly, I don't live, in some of the nice communities. I don't have the experiences that they have over the weekend. Being very reserved, but also open, because then it's, she doesn't talk much. What's going on? So all of the perceptions, right? And you have to really balance. It's a very, very thin balancing act in corporate America as an African American woman. If you're very intelligent, you may get some opposition. Well, she really doesn't know. Well, what college does she go to? If you have an opinion or an idea, people tend to take it and present it, and it's more heard. And that's even today. I've had that experience where you've come up with a plan and action. It's going to better the purpose and the mission. You present it, it's crickets. And then someone else presented, and it's the best thing since baked bread. So it's difficult. We don't get paid what we should. We have to navigate this very thin rope, at this fine line. We have to be presentable, that's non-threatening, but are you capable of doing the job? So it's a lot to it. I will say that things have gotten better in corporate America, but I think for me, I always thought, God has something more for me. Something is more, every job is an experience to help me build. And so once I realized that, once I got mature enough to understand the trials, tribulations, the experience, all of this is to make me better. I think, and I also knew that, God wanted me to do something else. And I knew this wasn't going to be the only thing I do. It helped me get through it.
Yeah, and I think that's a similar shared experience, and I think it's got a lot of sisters, running to entrepreneurship and say, you know what, I'm tired of code switching. I'm tired of my brilliance. It's like you said, my brilliance is being seen as a threat around here, and I just want us all to win. Like,
right. Well, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if you're not engaged in your career path and wanting to be better so that you elevate where you are, then you're slacking. And if you do a lot, then you're an angry Black woman, or you're not being heard, and you're being too aggressive. And so it's like you say, it's a balancing act. It's a code switching that you have to put on. And I find it really funny because on TikTok there's a few people, and I couldn't tell you who they are, but I get so tickled because it shows like what thoughts are going through a Black person's mind when they're in corporate America, and like there's some interaction, but they're responding in the way they wish they could respond, but they can't respond because they wouldn't understand. And it's hilarious. It's so true. It's so true. So yeah, it's difficult, and I think that's why a lot of women just said, hey, you know what? If I'm going to deal with the stress and strains, why should I build for someone else's dream? Why don't I build for my own? I can be my own boss. I can run my own show. And so I definitely support that 100%.
Awesome. All right. Well, Tonya, we got to a favorite segment of the show that I like to do called 1 Minute Motivation. I believe wholeheartedly in what you consume shapes who you are, right? And a lot of people think that personal growth and self-development is only when you're doing something positive, right? Like, no, everything you consume contributes to your personal growth or self-development. The question is, what direction are you growing? Are you growing in the right direction, or you growing closer to who you want to be, or you growing further away? So we do this 1 minute motivation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a short clip, usually 60 to 90 seconds or so. And then I just ask you to give me a takeaway or two if something stands out at you. And then I'm going to give a takeaway. And those of you who are watching this live, if you're in the position to type in something that you hear as well, then I want to hear from you guys too. So we're going to get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
The only thing that's going to make you happy, my friend, and this year or any other, is to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and feel that incredible power of pushing through whatever's holding you back and get to the other side of more of your true self. Don't let this year be like last. And if last year was great, still don't let it be that way. Raise the standard. It's not what we get that make us happy. It's who we become and what we're able to give because we become more. You want to know how to change your life? I give it to you in 3 words, boring as it sounds. Raise your standards.
There's no excuse for not living up to the fullest potential. No excuse. And I stopped being a victim. I stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press forward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power. Every single day, I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim. Winners win and losers lose. I can't explain it any better than that. But winners win. And if you create a culture of losing, if you keep being a victim, it's going to become a culture.
Ooh-wee. I don't know about you, Tonya. But the reason that I love this so much, especially when I have a guest on, right, is because we all just listen to the same clip. But based on where we are in life, we all heard something very different. So what did you hear, sis?
I heard stop being a victim. I mean, that's what I got. I got, regardless of where you are, what you're doing, who you are, your experiences in the past, the things that have wronged you, you're still not a victim. And you can get up, you can do it again. And getting up is actually your power. That's your strength. That's where you grow. That's where you build character. That's where you become you. So that's what I.
Yeah, I love it. No excuses for not living your fullest potential.
No,
right?
not at all.
It's crazy. I have this analogy, and I can't remember where I heard it from, but a tree doesn't know how to grow halfway, right? Like, I don't care what environment you put a tree in, it's going to try its best to reach the sun.
Yeah.
Period. Human beings have the gift and curse of choice, right? It's a gift that I could choose to go as hard as I can and become as much as I can, but it's also a curse that I could choose not to.
Right.
I can get to a certain point and just say, I'm gonna throttle down right here. I'm just gonna hang out right here. Like, this is the most I want to achieve. And I think we do those around us such a disservice when we don't try to unlock and uncover the fullest version of ourselves. So no excuses for not living your best life and going hard and living your fullest potential. Tony Robbins said, man, step up, raise your standards.
Yeah.
Like, I've been going through a lot of that lately. Like, God gave me 2 gifts that I have recently owned, right? Creative genius and patience. Right? And I'm like, how do I turn those into money, right? How do I monetize? Like, that's a weird kind of gift, like patience, but it works out because I'm in the digital marketing space and I have to have a lot of patience with my clients to help them understand certain concepts and precepts around things that they know nothing about, right? But at the end of the day, I started to look at, okay, walk in that. That's who you are. That's what God made you to be, and walk in it and go out and execute on who you are and your most authentic voice. So love it, love it, love it. That is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. The Tonya Buford version, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by none other than thesinglespodup.com. Listen, if you are single and you are looking for coaching, training, mentorship on how to live your best life, despite of being in the midst of a society that is so heavy with traditionalism that says you got to be married by this age and you got to have kids by this age. And listen, Tonya's going to help you navigate these waters, going to help you develop the right mindset and to know that you are enough right now as you are, whether Mr. Right or Mr. Right Now ever shows up, you are enough. So go to thesinglespodup.com. So Tonya, talking about the Singles Pop-Up, got through college, got into corporate, cause this is where you are. I know you got some event planning talent. Your communication is on fleek. Now you started to look at, okay, I'm walking through this life as a single. What was it that you started to notice amongst this community of singles that said, you know what, I need to do something about this?
Oh, I'm gonna tell you, it was heavy on my mind, on my heart. I'm telling you, it was crazy. So, I think it began when I realized I was single. And I know this sounds really crazy, but you'll talk to a single person, and, oh, I have a friend, somebody hang out every now and then, nothing serious or what have you, whatever stage you're in. And I thought, you know what, I want to do this with somebody. I want to get serious. I want to be intentional. And this is what I teach when I coach women and men. Be intentional. Set your goals and then say, okay, I'm going to intentionally put this much effort in this so I can get this outcome. And then and I think people think dating and being single and being married, it's this Disney, right? And you, like you said, it's structured. Oh, you finish college, you get married, you buy a house, you get a husband, 2.5, 2.3 kids, a house, garage, whatever, and you live happily ever after. And that is so untrue. Because if you ask somebody who did that, they'll tell you, I'm not happy. I fulfilled the things that I wanted to do. Now I have obligations. And so then it turns from the fantasy and the love and all that stuff to, I got to be here for the kids. I got to be here for the husband. I be here for the wife. And so who wants to live like that? And so I like to teach people to understand you're in a single season for a reason. Embrace it. It's not negative. It's not because you're not good enough. It's not because something's wrong with you and all of the things that society likes to put on you. It is a time for you to love yourself, to figure out what that is and what it looks like, and figure out, just deal with you, because you have to be whole in order to, kind of attract the right person. So I think for me, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I started to get on these apps, and then I thought, oh my God, it's not what I thought it was, because I'm pretty old school, and I believe in courting. I believe in, call somebody on Wednesday for a date Friday. I believe a follow-up. I believe you open the door and all that stuff. I'm just an old-fashioned girl. And so the dating apps were very much the opposite of that. So I was like, man, we got to do something about this. There's got to be people out there that believe what I believe. And I'm not knocking that. If that's what you want to do, if that's how you want to find love, that's fine. But I feel like we needed to get back to how we used to meet quality people. And so that birthed Singles Pop-Up.
Gotcha. So tell us a little bit about, going through that whole process, and then what Singles Pop-Up actually is, right? And then let's get into some of your first few events and how you turn it into an actual business, because it's funny that, like, a lot of us see a problem, all right, and then we go and we fix that problem, or we wanted to solve that problem for ourselves, but very few of us think like you thought. There's got to be some other people who feel the same way about me. They're single, they're going through these apps and it's not quite working, and they just want to get back to, hey, can I get to a place where I can have some interaction with some real people and see if there's some chemistry, and if we want to. So talk about that, going into that first idea of, like, this is not just something that I'm going through, but this is a potential for me to walk this out in business, as well as, solve this problem for myself?
Well, I think it began in church actually. You hear about the singles ministries all the time
Yeah.
in church, which I think is not effective because even the church doesn't put emphasis on helping singles. It's really more about families and
Mhm.
marriages and hey, maybe one day somebody will get it, but um because there's way more singles than there are married people. But
Mhm.
anyway, I digress. So I started in church. I thought, oh my God, it's got to be somebody else here that feels the way I feel. And so that's kind of how Singles Pop Up was formed. I put together a singles ministry. I went to the pastor, I went to the board. I gave them my whole synopsis and what I thought we need to
Mhm.
pour into people who don't have someone else at Christmas and all these different things. And you come to church, you get preached to, and then you go home alone. And
Mhm.
so they were like, fine, perfect. So we started there. And I started hearing stories about their struggles and their pain points and why isn't there people like me? Where do I find these people? They're not, it's hard to find people in these apps, because there's so much, it's static. It's like
Yeah.
white noise. It's hard
Yeah.
to, get to the person that that you think you would want to be a mate with. And I think that's when the idea came to my head, like, this is a thing. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not just my experience. This is actually a thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of did that as a focus group. And then once I realized, yeah, a lot of people are struggling with this, I said, okay, I need to be serious about it. So I never thought of it as a club or a group or and I think that's where the entrepreneurship of my mom and I
Mhm.
never even looked at it as monetizing it. I
Mhm.
just said there's got to be more people who feel like I do, and I should build this platform so we can be um together and
Yeah.
build community. So
Mhm.
that's kind of how it really began.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And now, so if I understand correctly, you started having these very intentional events
Yes.
around and for this
Singles.
this community to start growing and networking. So,
Yes, because I think when you're single, you tend to think singular.
mhm.
You think that everyone else is happily in a relationship or married and it's just you on an island.
Mm,
And that's not true. And so I think even when I started in the church, I mean, we did things together. We went to movies, we went bowling.
mhm,
Hey, it's a new fair coming out. Let's go as a group to support one another, not necessarily, to get hooked up or,
mhm.
matchmaking. I definitely don't want to get into that side of singleness. I just
Mhm.
want to create the space for you to have connection. It
Yeah.
could be a connection that you guys do the same thing and you build a business. It could be a connection that's your ace boon coon, y'all going on travel together. It could
Mhm.
be any of those kind of connections. So it's not always romantic, but I wanted to build this platform where people felt comfortable coming to and enjoying themselves and meeting other
Mhm.
people who were experiencing the same thing. And
Yeah.
so my events can go from mixers where it's just a network of, hey, we have fun, we introduce each other, what you do. We might do games, we all kinds of things. To where I really want to take Singles Pop Up is those pockets of community. So if you love to travel, then Singles Pop Up Travel is where you would
Mhm.
join, and if you
Yeah.
love to read, then here's the book club. If you have pets and you want to, where's the best place to take my dog? You got your
Mhm.
community. So building those communities, which will build connections. And I guess that's really, to be honest, the core of Single Pop-Up is really connection. I think we've
Yeah.
gotten away from that with
Mhm.
technology. You got Facebook, you got Instagram. We got 7 seconds for you to watch a video, but you don't know anything about the person. You don't
Right.
know anything about the struggle. You don't
Right.
know anything. So I think for
Yeah.
me, it was more like we need to get back to that human connection is what we were designed to be.
Mhm. Yeah, and I talk about that all the time. God created us to be interdependent, right?
Yes, he
Not
did.
independent, not codependent, not dependent,
Yeah.
interdependent. Like
Yeah.
we are social creatures.
Yeah.
And I think I love that you brought out the connection part. Hey man, let's just go and have fun together, and what will be will be. Whether
Exactly. Let it be
it
organic. I'm all about
yeah.
organic connections,
And
right?
I think sometimes we miss the fact that it's not a hookup situation, but because I connected with somebody who was dope, I know another dope single that I think that y'all will be, man, y'all, let me introduce you to
Yes,
somebody. Like
absolutely.
Dr. Frazier talks about networking. You know, he's the king of networking, and he says we got to take it one step further. It's not about who you know, right? That's what most people think. Is networking is about who you know. He said, no, that's not quite
Mm,
it. And then we start saying, well, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. He said, yeah, we're getting closer,
mhm.
but it's not about who knows you as much as it's about what they know about you, right? And
Mm,
sometimes singles are on this planet looking for love and nobody know they single.
that part.
Like, like wait a minute, wait a minute. So I think being in communities full of singles, then it's like, okay, it's evident you're here
Yes.
because you're single.
Yes,
So
and that's why I did
now,
that. Yes, that's why I intentionally did
if I
that.
was a single man, it's like, okay, that gives me just a little bit more confidence to say, hey, would you
Yes.
like to go out on a date? Because I don't have to worry about you saying, oh no, I'm
Right.
committed. I'm with somebody
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I try to strive for because I feel like you could go, yeah, you could go to a bar and sit at a bar and meet somebody and have a general conversation, but you don't know their status. And then until
else.
you say you ask them out, oh, I'm married or I'm seeing someone or
Mhm.
what have you. But for me, that's exactly why I wanted to create the space because
Yeah,
if you're there, if you intentionally bought a ticket or whatever and you say, hey, I'm open, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
go, you know that everyone else in that room is single, so
Hmm.
that kind of eliminates that first level of,
Hmm.
can I say something to this person? I
Yeah,
don't know,
yeah.
right? So that's why I intentionally want it to be a platform where singles can feel comfortable.
I love it. I love it. Listen, well, I know you got to run,
Yeah, and I'm
but
so excited about it. I mean, I actually got a text back, so I'm good till probably another 5 minutes. So if
all
you still
right.
have another question, I can go for it.
All right. Well, we're going to get into one of my other favorite segments of the show called freestyle. Because you in the
Okay.
DMV, so I know you got bars, sis. You
I ain't
can't
got
be out
no
in the
bars.
DMV and not have bars. What? No.
Nope.
So, so, so freestyle is not about rapping or rhyming to a beat. Even though I could, if I had to drop a
Okay.
beat for
All
you, I
right.
could drop you a beat if you're gonna
I
drop
feel
something else.
you.
So freestyle is where, as I'm building this multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate, starting with this podcast, I don't always ask the right questions, and the conversation doesn't always evolve to where we want it to go. So freestyle is your opportunity to take 2 minutes and either reiterate something that we said that you feel is really important, or if something we didn't get to talk about, you want to talk about, then take 2 minutes and really just come from the heart with what you want single people to
Oh,
know about what you guys got going on over there. So this
yeah.
is freestyle right
Yeah.
here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Tonya Buford version. Hit them with your best bar, sis.
Okay, so seriously, I just want men and women to understand that you are enough and you have everything you need to succeed, whether that's in business, whether that is in love. It does not matter. You are capable of making your life be what you want it. And being single is not a death sentence. It's not a check mark. It's not any of those negative things that people associate singleness with. Single is an opportune time for you to explore who you are. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I mean, what do you need to do to make you happy? If traveling is it, then explore it. If being an entrepreneur is it, do it. whatever that is. Because what I always tell women that I coach, sometimes we're in our own way because we're so programmed of this Disney that I'm going to be saved and I'm going to meet this handsome person and he's going to sweep me off my feet and everything's going to be great. And I'm not saying that that can't happen, but what I am saying is you are whole yourself and you have things that you want to do with your life, and do those things, because sometimes in doing that, you do meet Prince Charming. So if you're sitting back waiting for life to come to you, you'll never get it. Go out there, pursue those things, do the things that you love to do the passionate things that you love to do. And in that, you probably find your mate.
Boom, drop mic. That's it. Just like that. That is the freestyle Tonya Buford version.
I love it.
TheSinglesPopUp.com. For everybody how they can connect with you and
Oh,
a little bit about the services that you offer over there.
Yep. So we have, of course, COVID has definitely slowed the business down. I launched it in 2019. It was really starting to take off. And now we had COVID and things like that. So things had to be put on pause. I'm slowly introducing events. I had one on Friday for Valentine's weekend, and it was really a mixer. We just did some fun games and giveaways. But I'll be doing that each month. Next month, I'll be at Five Sisters in Laurel, Maryland, and it's going to be cocktails and conversation, because I think that's the key to connection, is that we have to understand what other people are experiencing, their perception. And I think men and women think differently. So just trying to find that common ground. So we'll be doing that. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and the Singles Pop Up. You'll see some pop-ups. I'm looking to expand this to have events in all these states it can, and pop up somewhere near you, and give the space for people to connect. So that's the goal.
I love it. I love it. TheSinglesPopUp.com. Look for them coming to a city
near you,
Poppin area near you, creating a space for singles to be all up in their singleness and be okay with that. I love it.
Be in, because when you have a husband and a wife and children, your life's going to be drastically different. So live your best life now.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, we've been listening to and learning from Tonya Buford. She's got to go. We're definitely going to get her back on the show. So she can really bring the fire after COVID calms down and they get some more of these events out. Definitely hit me up with your flyers and stuff, sis. I want to keep
I will do that. Absolutely.
This thing so we can share what you're doing with other people. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Tonya Buford, founder of the Singles Pop Up. So we're going to get her back on the show, and we got about 5 more minutes before we get out of here. So I'll make sure you guys know where to find her. So thank you so much, Tonya, for coming and hang out with us.
I appreciate it.
Here anytime.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's it, man. I really hope you guys got that. Those of you who are single, I think there's a narrative that when it comes to being single and some of the traditionalism that we see in the space, right? We live in a capitalistic society, right? And there's a lot of capitalistic benefits for people being married, right? Just the hookup and the connection itself, you're gonna mess around and spend thousands of dollars just tying the knot, right? Then you're gonna have kids, and each one of those kids is gonna cost you $500,000 to raise, right? So don't get caught up in traditionalism, right? If you find yourself in a space with another being that you want to share eternity with, or you want to share moments with, then by all means, make that thing work. But if that never happens, don't feel that you are less than a being. And I know without even trying to, sometimes our society makes us feel that being single is a problem, right? And it's really not. It's and when you meet a single person that says they're happy being single, we don't believe it. Like, no, there's no way you can be happy being single. You don't have someone to go home to, right? No, that's not the case, y'all. That's not the case. We got to be careful about that, right? And I know some single people have their RAS filter on, and it seems like everywhere you go, all you do is see couples, right? Because you yearn to be in that space. So because you yearn to be in a loving, committed relationship, sometimes all you see when you're out and about is couples. And if you don't have the right mindset and you start allowing that to negatively affect who you are, it becomes a thing, right? Mark said, this weekend, I see this firsthand with the younger youth confused about what they can be. Man, it is very, very confusing. So we got to be careful about that. And I love that Tonya is getting us back to, hey, let's start making some genuine connections, right? There's like, because of the pressure, and especially the older you get as a single, because of the pressure, it's like we want to skip the dating phase and go right into a committed relationship. Because of the pressure, you hardly see men and women just being friends first before they ever become lovers and things of that nature, because there's so much freaking pressure to be married and to have kids and to be raising families. And that ain't always in the cards for everybody. That ain't always the right thing for everybody. So we got to be careful about what tradition says. And sometimes we got to go back to the origin of these traditions. And a lot of times there's a monetary root to a lot of the traditions that we have, or there has been a, I don't know how you call it, a perversion of the tradition for monetary gain. So now there's a lot of pressure being created around this thing of relationships being committed and all of that kind of stuff. So just be careful, develop the right mindset around being single, develop the right mindset around who you want to spend the rest of your life with. If you decide that you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, these are things that really, like today, like it's going to be a lot of madness out in the marketplace today, right? It's going to be a lot of madness. Today is Valentine's. There's going to be a lot of madness out there in the space today. And I want, if you're single, you don't have anyone who's going to buy you some flowers, who's going to buy you some candy, who's going to take you out to a nice dinner, just understand that that does not mean that you are not deserving of those things because you don't have it in your life right now. It does not mean that if you don't want that in your life, it does not mean that there's something wrong with you because that's not something that you want, right? That's another huge problem that we have when people say they don't want to be married, when people say they don't want to have children. We don't believe them. It's like, no, sometimes, life has pushed people to different levels of understanding of who they are and what they want. So people can be very happy as single individuals, just like people who are married can be very miserable in their marital relationships, right? Marriage ain't bliss for everybody, and being single isn't a negative thing for everyone. So just be careful with your perspective. And those of us who are married and in loving relationships, try to be mindful of those who aren't and how we can feed the negative stereotype that everybody's got to be married by a certain age and got to have kids. Like, we got to be careful with how we speak and how we move throughout society, being sensitive to, not to say that if you believe in the sanctity of marriage and what a marriage can lead to, community building and all that kind of stuff, not to say that you have to put what you believe on the shelf, but sometimes we, without thinking about it, superimpose our beliefs on other people. And we got to be careful about that. So that's going to do it for us here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Super excited that you guys got a chance to come and hang out with us. So until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.